Hey everyone, welcome to Choose FI Christmas edition. It'd be easy to shut the show down for a day, but I know there are those of you each year that tell us that, you're either commuting to work or you wanted to carve out some time for this episode and you appreciated us releasing on cadence because it is part of your cadence each and every day. So this show is not for everybody, it is for you. And we are kicking off our Choose FI Win series. And we did a live event where now each year going forward, and maybe you'll actually consider joining us next year or in future years. We open it up to individuals to be able to submit their wins and then come on the show with us and share it in a live capacity. And really goes to the heart of what this show is about. It's about crowdsourcing personal finance, and it is about community. So with that, welcome to the ultimate crowdsource personal finance show. This is Choose FI.
You're listening to Choose FI Radio. The blueprint for financial independence lives here. If you're looking to unlock the secrets to financial independence and early retirement, you're in the right place. Stay tuned and join a community of like-minded people who are getting off the hamster wheel and taking control of their lives in the pursuit of financial independence. Choose FI, your home for financial independence online.
All right, Brad. Well, we're going to be kicking off our Win series, and I'm excited to share some of the conversations that we've had. Really, the first year was selfishly just me and you sharing our win, and then we scaled that up and we were able to do some email wins, and then this year, really something special.
Yeah, Jonathan, something special. That is about the perfect way to describe it. I think you and I were both taken aback by how just amazing and emotional this event was, right? Like we've done these year-end wins episodes before, and I've been on record saying like, this is my favorite episode of the entire year, just when you and I just simply read the emails. But this year, having it as a live event just brought it to the next level. And yeah, I mean, a lot of credit to you. I think this was one of your harebrained ideas that you brought up, and I'm like, oh no, yeah, this might not work. But it went off seamlessly, and it was about, I think we ended up doing it for almost 3 hours, and we coordinated with about 20 of our community members to tell their story live on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and now on the podcast in essence. So yeah, it was really pretty amazing, right? Like it just, you and I spend a lot of time obviously talking into these microphones and we get emails and you have a sense that it's doing something. But man, to see people's faces when they tell us the changes that they've made, the action that they've taken, it's all about them. Obviously, it's not about us at all. But the action they've taken to make their lives better in just 12 short months in 2020 of all years. Like it was remarkable.
We say, and our community says that this idea is life-changing, and it is, but, if you're just saying it, by itself, it can sound kind of just like a platitude. But what does it mean that it's life-changing? Why is it life-changing? This has been a very tough year, an almost impossible year to win. Just seems like the entire deck has been stacked against you all year long. And yet, many people have persisted. Many people have found a way. And a lot of the strategies that we've talked about have been incredibly helpful, both for people that found this before and were in a place where they had more margin in their life, and also people that were finding it in the middle and were able to use some of the tactics and the strategies to be able to stretch themselves farther than they've ever gone before. These are the tactics. Like these are tried and true tactics and strategies. And it's not just about your money. It's not just about what investment vehicle you choose to put your money into. It's a strategy for life, for living a better life. And I think that's what we see over the series of conversations that we're going to be sharing. And I know Brad just mentioned 3 hours. This is not going to be a 3-hour episode. In fact, what we're doing is we've taken parts of this longer event and we're going to be sharing it, drip releasing it over the next couple of weeks. It's just fascinating conversations to see people from all walks of life, what they've actually done. But that's the point of encouragement here. We're going to kick this thing off, but it's just hear what you guys are doing and hear the impact that this information has and hear how it's spread. Like it's not, it's fine for us to say, hey, financial independence. It's not just financial. It's about living a better life. Look how that manifested in the stories of these individuals that considered themselves part of this community, just how they've been able to crush it in one of the most difficult years that I can, in my lifetime, one of the most difficult years in my lifetime. So Brad, what do you think? You ready to kick this thing off?
Yeah, let's rock and roll. Part 1 of the end of year wins.
Andrew. There we go. You can hear all that transition stuff.
Please leave that in the podcast. Please.
No, Andrew, you don't have to.
I
Don't
will
do
pay you money.
Valerie, welcome. Choose FI.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate you letting me join you.
Oh, this is going to be a lot of fun. So, we're celebrating wins tonight, and you are going to be the first person that we're getting the opportunity to talk to on this wonderful evening. And I guess for our community, why don't we just start? Tell us a little bit about your year. It's been a challenging year by any measure. What has this year meant to you?
I mean, I know it's been super challenging for everyone with COVID. I think outside of COVID, my biggest challenge, I purchased a condo 2 years ago and I've been renovating it. And this was the year we finally got the permits closed. So that was our biggest win, not financially related, but just, from a livelihood standpoint, it's been nice to be able to put that behind us.
So what does that look like, a 2-year process like that?
Well, if you could imagine living in a 2-bedroom apartment that's gutted and doesn't have any running water, so you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to pee, you have to go down to the lobby of your building. Or if you want to take a shower, you have to go down to the pool to shower at the pool for 6 months, or go down to the laundry room to brush your teeth. So
all right.
Oh my goodness.
a minor win to be done with that.
Yeah. Yep. So I would say, the biggest thing, we're not completely done with the renovations, but done enough so that we could close out the permits, which we needed to do so that we could refinance the mortgage. So, I would have loved to have refinanced the mortgage earlier in the year, but I wasn't able to do it because I had open permits, but finally was able to get the permits closed out. So, refinance the mortgage this year. And that's saving me $466 a month.
Wow.
So that's a pretty big chunk of change. I was able to pay off my credit cards this year. So that's saving me over $600 a month. So just between those two things, that's over $1,000 a month that I'm able to save.
Hold on. Can I just stop you real quick? So credit cards, obviously this bedevils so many people. Like, how long did you have credit card debt? Was this like a long-term payoff? Like, talk us through that.
No, it was credit card debt to pay towards some of the renovation of the condo. So I didn't have credit card debt prior to the renovation, but I kind of found myself in a scramble to come up with some cash to pay for the renovation. I mean, when you don't have a toilet, you need to come up with some money to pay somebody to put one in.
So this is what you call, this is like a live-in flip. That was the idea with this project that you undertook?
I'm not trying to flip it. I'm just trying to live in it. So,
all right. So you've come to the almost to the end of these renovations, and between the refinance and paying down the credit cards, you freed up over $1,000 a month of effectively recurring payments.
Yep, absolutely. So I do have some other debt. Again, it's towards paying for the renovation. So all the debt that I have is either the renovation or my mortgage. But I've got a couple other smaller loans that I've got to pay off for the renovation. But in total this year, I've paid off $34,000 worth of debt.
Nice.
So, and again, it was all the monthly payments that I had to make. I also used my tax refund, my bonus from work, and then any money that I would make from side hustles all went towards paying off debt. So pretty excited to get $34,000 paid off this year. Let's see, I also started for the first time and maxed out an HSA. So very excited about that. Because I now have $1,000 freed up. Again, most of it will get rolled into paying off the next debt, but I did just increase my 401k contribution from 8% to 11%.
Nice.
So I haven't even gotten my first paycheck with that new change. So we'll see what that looks like. I opened up my first taxable account through M1. So I've got that. I rebalanced my entire portfolio for the first time. So that was pretty exciting for me. I know people don't probably get generally excited to do that, but
I'm excited for you.
I was super excited to do that. I earned a little over $4,000 this year from side hustles. Most of that was from doing focus groups. And I thought that would go away with COVID, but then they just started doing Zoom focus groups. I do mystery
I think
shopping.
someone right now is probably going to message you and ask you about these focus groups. Like,
you can honestly just Google focus groups in whatever city you live in. So
I see someone in our green room Googling it right now. Like that actually just started happening.
There'll be a whole bunch of different, companies that pop up. Sign up with every single one of them. They'll email you. You fill out surveys, and, if you pre-qualify for one, someone will get in touch with you. So, I probably qualify for one out of every 20 I fill out, but you're usually making $100-$200 for every survey. So I actually had one focus group earlier this year that was a whole weekend. So it was like Friday night, all day Saturday, all day Sunday, and it was a mock trial. And I got paid about $550 for that. So
wow,
that was fantastic.
How did you find out about that? How did that even pop up on your radar?
I mean, it was just one of those regular emails where they're asking people to fill out a survey, and that one just happened to pay out a lot of money. So I wish I got more of those. I mean, most of them are about $100, and you're testing a consumer product, or they're asking, what your opinion is about something. But that was just a random shot in the dark. But I actually had to turn down an invitation to go hang out with some friends that weekend because I had to make money. So
well, yeah, because you had to get the restroom up and running. I'd be motivated too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's no. In all serious, Valerie, that is incredible. I mean, this is not like a small thing stacked on another small thing. You have made massive progress, and I'm just curious, like, if you were to take a look at, when this year started, and maybe you took that first little step compared to now, like this year in review, what you've done. What does it mean for you over the next several years? Like, what does this year represent for you in terms of your path to financial independence?
I definitely wasn't spending as much money this year just because of COVID. There wasn't as much travel. So I was able to save some money for that. But I think, maybe this year was kind of a blessing for a lot of us because we had the time to get more focused about things that maybe, we wouldn't have had the time normally to do. So, I mean, I was supposed to take my first travel hacked credit card rewards trip this year, but because of COVID, that got postponed. So hopefully next year we'll get to
And the points are still there, so don't you worry.
Yep, nope, don't worry. We've already rebooked. We're just, hoping that next year it'll be good. I'm 1/3 to my FI number. So I'm hoping I'm hoping to retire by 2030. I know that seems like super far off for some people, but I think that that'll be good for me. So
doesn't seem far
only
off
if every year is a 2020 year.
Yeah.
And what's amazing is if you think about it, so that $1,000 a month that you're saving, that is basically $300,000 off of your FI number. I think that's one thing that a lot of us lose sight of. We talk about this on the podcast, that for every $100 a month that you can cut out of recurring expenses, that's $30,000 off of your FI number. Because just to do the simple math, right? It's $100 a month times 12 months is $1,200 per year. And we always say just, the 4% rule, right? Times 25, that's $30,000. So you had 10 of those, right? That's $300,000. So that is really, really marvelous. Just congratulations, Valerie.
Yeah. No, I mean, thank you guys. I have made my dad, my uncle, my brother, friends, read your book. I've gifted it to them. My dad's in his late 70s and wishes he would have had all of this information decades ago. But again, no better time than the present to start.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's crazy that they don't give this to us in schools. It really is. I mean, how is that even possible that every kid doesn't come out of high school understanding how compound interest works at a practical level, not at an academic level, but at a practical level for their own life. It's just, it's insane. Yeah. Valerie, thank you for joining us on the show tonight and for celebrating your wins with the community.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, this is Andrew from the Choose FI team. I hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to get right back to it after these quick messages.
Up next is Michelle. Michelle, I'm going to add you and I'm going to bow out of this.
Hi, Michelle.
Greetings.
Excited that you're here with us tonight. Why don't you go ahead and start by sharing a little bit about what this year has meant for your path to financial independence?
Sure. So I shared with you guys before, this year kind of happened all at once. I was in a Marriott Googling financial independence while listening to a good old geriatric conference. And I came across The Purple Life, the Fire movie, and then Choose FI. And then I was like, this is what I want to do. And I had to come home and kind of convert my husband, he's wonderful in every way, shape, or form, but he was like, no more. And so I said, how about if you read Choose FI, which I already digested super fast, and then we'll have like a little date night. And so he was like, okay, fine. So he read the book, and then we just started to snowball everything because he said, I never thought that I could retire before, 65 or 75. And I thought debt was normal. And we don't really have a lot of debt, or didn't. And now even more don't. So then we kind of so you guys always say the 1%. Greg and I, my better half, call it snowballing. So we just started to knock out one thing at a time. And it's been a huge, tremendous year. We're super lucky in that we have some family in this area, and that Greg has to, so I always have to work. In the pandemic, I didn't get to stay home. I still have to go to work, and I work as a nurse practitioner at the VA, and I'm a supervisor, and then my supervisor left. So I took over supervising for the state of New Mexico and how we coordinated that. But in the back end, it was Greg and I, for the first time in our marriage, joining finances. Then we maxed out his 401. Then we sold our rental home and we bought a short-term rental. We listened to all of the Choosify from first to, the newest one.
Oh, wow.
Which we bike a lot. So we listen to the podcast while we're biking, and it makes bike riding fun. And then he was like, hey, Jonathan said, we got to make a plan. Like, let's not do this. So we made our plan. And we stuck to the plan. We broke up with our financial advisor, and that was fun because he said, you can't really break up with me. And I said, show me the contract. And then I got a check for money.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I don't want to take you off because you're crushing it. But do you ever see that Seinfeld episodes where George tries to break up and she's like, I don't accept. I do not accept this breakup.
Oh, man. And I went immediately to the Princess Bride. I don't think that word means what you think it means.
But and we love Princess Bride too. So then we opened Vanguard and moved all of our accounts, and like the financial planner was like, and I'm like, haha, see you later. No more wasting money on you, sucker. And then
tell me a little bit about those fees. I want to dial in there. I know you have more, and I don't want to take it away from you, but I think this is really important for people, because when you have a guy or a gal or a person that's been helping you, is recommended, it's a friend of the family, I know someone, early on in your career, you got this advice and now you've been with them. You never really understood how they got paid. You never really questioned the model. You just know it's a person. And when you get to a certain wealth or a certain point in your life, you need to have a person help you with your money, because you don't get trained in how to do this stuff. So of course you're going to have a person. That's what wealthy people do. And then you're listening to this show and suddenly you're like, oh, maybe I should find out how much this person makes. I didn't think I'd been paying them anything, or I didn't even know how they made money. They just always sent me a Christmas card. Maybe I should find out. And then you go, look, walk me through that, because you broke up. You didn't like the arrangement, the way the table was set. So tell me what you found out when you went and looked.
You're on a permanent break. No, so he thought that, so he introduced himself as like, oh, well, my fees are $50 a month and I make this plan for you. And I thought, oh, well, that's good. That's how he's making his money. And there was like steps and tiers to the plan. And so then you started to see like all his things were actually kind of like a used car salesman, which they don't like me anyway, right? And so then Greg and I were looking at the fees, and he would say like, well, I've decided to move your money to this because, it's a more, he'd use terms like it's a sexier, it's a cooler, this one is, a little more rough, but we're going to get more money on the back end. And I'm like, geez, but I'm paying you money to do all this. And I thought I was paying you the $50. And he's like, oh no, that wasn't part of the contract. And I'm like, I don't like this. You didn't sell me something. And I know now, like, I can just snowball my money and not have to pay all these fees. Nice. So that's how it happened.
That's incredible. And, you mentioned snowball a couple of times now, actually, and you mentioned it in terms of like taking action right at the beginning. And you mentioned a lot of the things that you've done over the year, but what were those first couple of things? So when you and Greg's first decided, okay, we're going to take action, right? Like, do you remember what those first couple of 1% better things were?
So the first thing was joining finances. Like, we used to pay bills and have one joint account. So Greg and I met later in life. I'm a retired Army Nurse Corps officer turned nurse practitioner. He's this amazing geologist who also is an engineer, but I wanted my own stuff. And then we had kids and a house, and I was like, okay, let's be 100% transparent, even though we're kind of thrifty. And that started it. And then I was like, you can max out your 401, listening to these podcasts, it'll decrease our taxable income. And he was like, I don't think we can. And then he did it and was like, oh, that didn't hurt at all. We were like all over the place, like, let's pick one thing a week we do, right? And the first goal was to sell the rental home, which sold in one day. We had 10 offers. We took the first one with cash, and then we rolled that over into a short-term rental. And that's doing great. And then I was like, okay, break up with a financial planner. So we did that. We pulled that Band-Aid. Then we opened the Vanguard accounts and we did that. It was awesome. And then we're like, okay, we only have 2 kind of buckets of debt. We got new windows for a house that we remodeled. And then we have his school loans. And I was like, let's knock out these windows. So all the camps that kids couldn't go to, that money that was refunded went to the windows, right? My bonus for the work that I have done at the VA, that went to the windows. Greg's bonus, because he's super wicked smart and handsome, that went to the windows, right?
The bonus for being handsome. I like it.
Oh, he's super handsome.
Those geologists, man, those beauty bonuses, they're just amazing.
Geologists love beer, rocks, and an engineer's like spreadsheets. So I'm really lucky. You can hike with him and he'll talk money and numbers with you at all times. So. And then we started doing the travel hacking. Then we got the Sapphire Chase, which we pay off every time. And then I was like, hey, where are we at right now? And I'm like, 42%. That's our favorite number. We joke because we like funny books. Some people don't like books.
Was that Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
We both know it.
Come on.
You don't have to dance around it, Michelle.
So,
where are my dolphins at? Come on.
There you go. Exactly. You need a spoon, a dolphin, and a towel, right? And you can make the road around. And Greg's wonderful because he gets me, right? Like I've deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I don't need a lot in life. And that's why I love Greg. Like our first date, I used a coupon and I was like, split it. And he was like hooked, right? And so,
you had me a coupon. You had me a coupon.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's amazing.
Groupon's connecting the FI community since 2012.
Yeah. Michelle, that's amazing. Thank you so very much for being here. And thanks for sharing all your wins. It's just incredible. I love that one thing a week. I think that's something that's going to stick with me. So thanks for sharing that.
And thank you guys. It's changed our year, and you can do a lot, and everyone in the community can do a lot. And on your weekly thing, like, everyone in the FI community, grab your friends, because I've slowly grabbed all the NPs, and any NP that's new, I'm like, before you do anything, max out the TSP, and then let's work on your one thing. And it's a great thing. So thank you both.
Thank you so much. I do have one tiny little question. He told me, Jonathan, you cannot do 12 questions per person. Like that's
I would love to spend an hour with every person. Believe me, Michelle, I'm sure we could have an hour with you.
But I do have a tiny one here. So Michelle, someone's listening to this and they just have this sneaky feeling that they have lost a lot of money by not understanding how their advisor is making money. It's a huge thing for people. And then 2, once they go research it, they really don't know what the breakup process should look like or how to do it. Like, do you have any, like, let's say your friend comes to you and said, oh yeah, I was using this person and they were screwing me over. Like, any best practices from your perspective on breaking up with an advisor that does not have your best financial interest at heart?
Right. So they're going to try to convince you no matter what. They won't understand FI like you are learning it. And so just simply state it, that it's you, not them. So I said, my plan is different. And I've explained FI to you, but I'm full-heartedly in this now. And I am breaking up with you. And then he said, well, you can't because we have this. But I went ahead and just started transferring everything to Vanguard. And I let him send me the contract. And then if anyone in the community they don't get it, they're having problems, you just find me on Facebook, hit me up, I'll help you read the contract. And we'll write another, it's me, not you, we're breaking up. And it's a permanent break. There's no Rachel, there's no Ross, there's no happy ending for them. Your happy ending is when you break up and you get the money that they're taking you, $50 every month, and then you're snowballing it. And it'll suck, but we're going to rip that Band-Aid off like a good person should.
I love it.
Oh, I promise you're paying more than $50. You know that. Michelle, thank you so much for coming on the show. This has been a blast.
So up next, we have Chris. So Chris, you're in, and I'm out.
Chris, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're excited that you're here. How long have you been following the FI community for?
About 2-3 years now. So
Awesome.
It's been
Tell
great.
us a little bit about how you found out about it and kind of what it meant for you to get started.
Wow. I think it was Simple Path to Wealth, or it was the Your Money or Your Life. If there's 2 books you want on your shelf, it's those 2. So yeah.
Agreed. Simple Path to Wealth was a game changer for my life, and the stock series before that. But yeah, it's amazing the clarity that it can bring to an otherwise extraordinarily confusing topic, right? That like sometimes your brain just wants to shut down. So yeah, totally feel you with that.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. And for us this year, it's been interesting. The first caller mentioned about the pandemic and how it's affected things. And obviously it's affected everyone. And, it's somewhat of an opportunity. I mean, we've saved $15,000 this year. We've been able to max our HSA, max our simple IRA. I'm with a small company, so we have a simple IRA. Just really good gains and really good wins. The biggest thing is just the way the family's working together. We have 2 adult children and they're getting it, learning a lot. So it's really good.
That's cool. So you've introduced the concept of FI to your children as well?
Actually, I've been trying to introduce it to about 24 nieces and nephews along with my kids. So go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to follow up on that. Obviously, that's a large footprint. I mean, that's a lot of people. And so what's the context for that? And what's the, obviously most of us say, this is amazing. I wish I had found out about it 20 years ago. But the next best thing to that is if you can't go back 20 years for yourself, what if you can have an impact on the next generation? So obviously your kids, I think most of us aspire when we have kids to like have, pass this information, get them to get started sooner. But then if you can expand outside of that and you're talking about an impact on nieces and nephews, that's massive. It's also challenging. How have you approached that and what's the reception been?
The reception's been very good. A couple of the nephews have reached out and they're like, send me more stuff. So I find websites, I send different articles. I send certainly Choose FI podcasts and articles and such. I have read your book. It was a great book too. And it's funny, I get into a podcast, I start listening and I'm like, I've kind of heard all this already. Don't really need to hear it, but I'm looking for that one little tidbit that I can get, that one little story or that one little thing that I can learn from. One of my nephews has saved quite a bit of money and is doing really well because of that. He's saving 40-50% of his income himself. So doing really well.
Well, let's ask this question from Christine to you directly because it's so pertinent. So you have a lot of people that you've had these conversations with that are not now directly your kids. Obviously with your kids, well, whether they'll listen or not is a different thing, but you're going to say, you need to listen to this. You need to. But you can't really do that with nieces and nephews or even extended family members. So from Christine, how do you know how or when to have that kind of money conversation?
The way I actually approached it was through an email initially. I kind of broached it as hey, by the way, if you haven't found FI or found, this type of information, it's out there. And here's a start. I recommend, again, Your Money or Your Life, Simple Path to Wealth. Certainly, Mr. Money Mustache's article is a great start. There's a lot of great charts out there that show if you want to retire in a certain amount of age, you got to find that number where you make the salary you make. So
does that word retirement, does that mean something to them? Like at that point in time, like you're talking to a 22-year-old or an 18-year-old, a 16-year-old, and you say, hey, you can save in a retirement. Does that connect? Does that concept even, ring true for them?
I think it does on some level, absolutely. I mean, obviously, you get fed the typical, hey, you're going to work till 67. And for years and decades, I've just figured that's what I was going to have to do. And I don't have no desire to go to 67 any longer. It's somewhere in between where I am and there. Figure it out. Life can deal you all kinds of different things. So you never know when it's going to happen, but I've got a plan and hope to hit it. So to answer that question, I would say reach out however you can. And if they don't want to hear it, they'll let you know. And if they do, then they're interested, then they'll respond.
Nice. So Chris, $15,000 a year you save, and you said, in this year of all years, right? It's been a successful financial year. And I'm curious, were there any changes that you made that you found especially impactful or like anything that jumps out? Or was it just kind of like steady state, we're keeping with the plan even amidst this uncertainty?
Well, one of the things that we did do, like many people, you go out and you buy homeowners and umbrella and car insurance, and you get into this slow boil where the insurance company starts raising your rates, and you're convinced you got a good deal. So finally, I went out and called up Policy Genius, and I saved 50% of our combined annual premiums switching to Policy Genius. Just amazing. It's going to save $300-$400 a month.
Wow.
It's a lot of money. So
was that moving from a whole life to a term? Like talk me through that, or was it just term to term save that much money?
Well, we've got a home, obviously. We have 4 vehicles, insure 4 vehicles, 4 drivers, and then we had a $2 million umbrella. So trying to package all that into one thing, we were able to save about $3,800.
Wow, that's remarkable.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Robert's calling me out here. I'm sorry.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to do a full 1 hour interview with everybody too. But I have 18 people that I set up interviews with here.
Chris, thanks so much for joining us on the show today, man. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. It's been great. Take care.
All right, Ed, welcome back. By the way, guys, just give Ed a shout out real quick. He's actually been on our show on, I believe, 2 episodes. He is also the director of our nonprofit, the Choosify International Foundation. The foundation has actually a couple things that are in existence in the universe. One is a 6-week Financial Independence 101, completely free for anybody. If you want to learn how to, incorporate these ideas, these lessons into your life, just go to choosify.com/FI101. It will redirect you to the page. Also, there is a completely free financial literacy curriculum, a pre-K through 12, totally free. It's been a work in progress for the last 2 to 3 years. It's got a team that has put an almost incalculable number of hours in putting together completely free. All of this is possible due to listener support from listeners like yourself, and it is 100% free for anybody that wants to use it, because financial literacy should be taught at every level. It shouldn't be optional. I mean, the cost of inaction, the cost of not having this is decades of your life. So this is just, our attempt to try to make a little bit of impact in the universe, and it would not be possible without your help. More information on that. Ed, how can someone find out about that free pre-K through 12 curriculum?
Yeah, everything's on the website, the foundation website, but the easy link will be choosify.com/pre-K12.
Or we have a link to the foundation's website in the top nav bar of choosify.com. So any of those ways you can make your way there. So yeah, really, we're talking about, especially with Chris right there, about sharing this message. If you're looking to share this message, the FI 101 or the pre-K through 12 curriculum, those are 2 wonderful ways. So yeah, good stuff.
And can I actually say, I know we have a lot of teachers in our audience. We have a lot of administrators in our audience. And let me just put this out there. This was designed even before COVID with kind of a mixed model education in mind. It works. It scales perfectly for Zoom classes. It scales perfectly for large groups. It incorporates financial literacy into the lessons that you're probably already teaching, because it takes a look at what the standards are for all of the different states and then breaks those back into what needs to be accomplished. How can this get fit in a way that doesn't make teachers' life more difficult? So it's worth your time, if you in any way participate in the school system, to just go take a look and see what they've put together and see if it's something that'd be helpful for the students, because we're costing these kids a lot of money by not teaching them this information earlier on. So Ed, all right, sidebar. For my sidebar, back to you, brother. What do you got for us?
Well, up next we got Lauren. Lauren is ready to come in, and I'm going to get her in the show, and I'm going to hop out. Welcome, Lauren.
Lauren, welcome to Choosify.
Hi, guys. Thank you for having me.
Thanks.
Absolutely. Why don't you catch us up on a little bit about your year? It's been a pretty amazing year based on what I've seen.
Yeah. So I found you guys in late August. So I'm a super late bloomer. I'm currently on episode 61R. So I have a lot to catch up on.
So you started back at 1 and you're all the way up to 61R already? That's not bad. Wow.
Yeah.
There's a lot of episodes now. I remember back in the day, it was like, all right, we're on episode 80. It'd probably be worth your time to go all the way back and just listen to the beginning. Now it's like episode 400. And I'm like, I think it's probably still worth your while, but there's a lot of episodes now.
Big commitment.
Yeah, I know it's going to take a while, but I'm determined.
Well, have you gotten value from the first 60 episodes? Why don't you catch us up on what those episodes and this content has meant in your life practically?
For sure. So I got a side gig in August being a census worker. So I was able to pay off all of my consumer debt. That was about $7,000. And if anyone has the opportunity, I would say do it. I mean, it comes every 10 years, but all of the additional, Sunday pay, Sunday premium, Saturday, nighttime differential. I mean, it added up to like $1,300 a week, which for me was pretty great.
Lauren, can I ask a quick question? So would you have taken that job or that side hustle if you hadn't found the podcast?
No, totally not. I wouldn't have looked. I mean, my coworker had just happened to mention it, but I said, it was super flexible. Yeah. And I was just focused on, paying off my consumer debt so I could begin investing. So no, and I'm definitely grateful for that.
That's cool. That's real. And that's what we always talk about, right? Is taking that action. It's all well and good to listen to a podcast or read blogs or read books, but actually just getting up off the couch and taking action. So good for you. And I interrupted you, so keep going.
No worries. So then after the episode with Noah, I learned that I can switch my 403B. So it was in stocks and bonds, and I switched it to VTSAX. My husband and I opened up a joint VTSAX account, and we've been contributing as much as we can into that account. We've reduced all of our monthly recurring bills to as low as they could possibly be. Phone, car insurance, all of that just saved a lot of money per month.
Any idea of like a general number there on like when you guys really focused on getting it to as low as they really could be? What did that end up saving you in monthly recurring cost?
So my car insurance, it was about, I want to say about $60. It was $187, my car insurance, and it went down to about $132. It was lower than that, but they got back to me that I had an accident. And my phone bill, I was horrendously paying $187 a month for unlimited.
Can you hear me now? Hear me now?
Currently now we pay about $120 a month for 3 of us for unlimited. My husband has family out of the country, and I also live in a rural area. So for my home, we have satellite, which is even more horrendous. So if there's anyone out there that has any hacks for satellite, I would so appreciate it. I'm in the Facebook group.
Elon's got to hurry up and get these satellites in the sky so we can stop worrying about this stuff. I'm just saying, like internet, the 3 billion satellites up there. Can we please get some free internet? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping that Starlink will come through soon.
It's coming. It's coming. Awesome. So we got about $100 a month savings there. Anything else that I think you mentioned? There were a couple other items that you guys were able to reduce in monthly recurring expenses.
Well, a huge one is in July, we moved into a home that we are caretakers for. So not only are we upgrading from an apartment where we were, but now we're not paying rent.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
you piqued my interest with the word caretaker. I think it just hit Jonathan with the raised eyebrows there. That's okay. How did you find this? How does one get involved? Is this replicable? Tell us more, obviously.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know how to make this totally replicable. My mom works as a cleaning lady for someone who is quite wealthy. And that woman has a house on her property, and she is an older woman. And so we take care of, basically my husband takes care of whatever she needs in the house. And I still kind of find myself confused why we live here. I mean, my mom has worked for her for over 20 years. So I think it might kind of go back to the relationship piece and like always just kind of keeping options open and networking, because it definitely wouldn't have been available to us had my mom not been so stable for her for all of these years. But otherwise, I'm not really quite sure how to make that replicable.
No, that's fair. That's fair. But I guess tell us, like, so you live for free, but what is the caretaker? Like, what are your responsibilities? Is there?
We did sign a contract. The contract basically says that we can't have any other like people living with us. We, are kind of just there whenever they need something. So if they need, my husband just moved up the Christmas tree stuff from the attic and brought it down for her, putting things out, moving fall flowers when it's, spring or summertime, because those are heavy. So kind of doing more of like husband work, I guess, around the house. But I do know that there's some like home share websites that you can kind of possibly tap into where you can be a caretaker. I'm sure just Googling would be great, because I think it was mentioned on the podcast sometime before.
Yeah, Amy and Tim Rutherford, Jonathan, talked about something, home sitting, right? Was what they referred to it as?
I think.
Yeah, for sure. It is out there. It may not be exactly the same as yours, but it's definitely out there, because it sounds like yours is a little bit more of a long term. But imagine that these sorts of like non-replicable things are somewhat replicable in various scenarios. What's interesting about that is the fact that one, you kind of had your eyes open for an opportunity like this, and then you said yes, when it happened. I'm curious, what were you paying for an apartment, prior to this? If you weren't living for free, what would you expect to be paying?
In New Jersey, we paid $1,100 for a 1-bedroom apartment where like nothing got fixed if it was broken. They would just like paint the ceiling if like something was leaking. I mean, it was quite sad, but yeah.
So it's fair to say that over the last, since you found this show, between the extra side hustle that you brought in, it sounds like you brought in over $4,000 some odd dollars from your side hustle. And then on top of that, you made this move into this facility, which is saving you between the actual rent you're not paying of $1,100 plus some of the recurring monthly expenses that you slash, somewhere in between $1,200 to $1,500 additional per month. So from August to now, that's about 4 months. That's about a space of $8,000 to $9,000 that you've been able to free up just with those two things alone. And with that, you were able to pay off all of your consumer debt. And then that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. What's next for you guys? Like, how do you build on all of your success up to this point?
I mean, we're just trying to pump as much money into retirement, into our pre-tax and post-tax accounts. I actually got an old job asked me to come back, and from Your Money or Your Life, I was like, no, I actually can't do this. Like the second day, I was like, it's just not worth my time. I don't really know if I want to do this. I kind of want to focus on something else. And I mean, just to really save as much as we can. And also, we found out that I'm pregnant.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
Yeah. Thank you.
Huge win.
That's amazing.
Crazy. So basically, I already had the conversation about, raising this baby frugally and, kind of trying to find things that are used. And I've, been bringing my husband along with it, and he's totally down, which is exciting. Some things I'm kind of like slowly feeding him, like to kind of not scare him, because I am like Jonathan, where
you've already got your eyes on the FI date, like it's there.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, we just have to like not say, like I don't want to like really scare him, so I'm trying.
He thinks you're gonna come to the end of this list, like you just you got this one more thing's fine. All right, we'll do this one thing. No, we're just getting started. We're about to really get started next year. That's amazing, Lauren. Thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with the audience.
Thank you so much, guys. I mean, it's been legit life changing. So I just wanted to really say how grateful I am. Thank you.
All right. So with that, everyone out there, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I hope this was a point of encouragement for you, and I hope this kicks off your week in the right way. We will check back in on Monday with part 2 in this Win series. So much more to follow. The fire is spreading, my friends. We'll see you next time as we continue to go down the road less traveled.
You've been listening to Choose FI Radio Podcast, where we help middle-class America build wealth, one life hack at a time.